slave. You're a glorified slave, man. Like, why would you want to be a glorified slave? Culture will.
Imagine a world where the lines between politics, culture, and personal loyalty blur into something far more sinister than anyone could have anticipated. This is the story unfolding right now, one that started with a single gunshot but has spiraled into a web of conspiracy, betrayal, and desperate cover-ups. At its center is the shocking assassination of Charlie Kirk, the fiery conservative activist whose life was cut short on live television during a routine campus event. But as details emerge, it's not just Kirk's death that's under scrutiny, it's the entire narrative being spun around it, and the people closest to him who might have played a role in his downfall. Let's rewind to that fateful day in Utah. Charlie Kirk, the 31-year-old founder of Turning Point USA, was on stage at Utah Valley University, engaging with a crowd of students as he often did. He was in his element, challenging ideas, rallying the next generation of conservatives, and pushing back against what he saw as the radical left's grip on campuses. The conversation had turned to mass shootings in America, a topic Kirk handled with his usual blend of data and defiance. An audience member asked him point-blank how many mass shooters there had been in the U.S. over the past decade. Kirk, ever the provocateur, shot back with a quip, "Counting or not counting gang violence?" Those were his last words. Moments later, at exactly 12 hours 23 minutes 30 seconds p.m., a single bullet struck him in the neck. Blood poured from the wound as he slumped forward, lifeless before the horrified crowd. Eyewitnesses described a scene straight out of a nightmare, screams echoing across the courtyard, students scrambling for cover, and the rapid spread of graphic videos online that captured every gruesome second. The internet exploded almost immediately. Within minutes, clips of the shooting flooded social media platforms, turning a local tragedy into a national spectacle. Conservative voices decried it as an assassination of free speech itself, while others on the left pointed fingers at the heated rhetoric Kirk embodied. President Donald Trump, a longtime ally, called it a heinous act and vowed to honor Kirk's legacy by doubling down on efforts to mobilize young voters. Vice President J.D. Vance stepped in to host Kirk's podcast, declaring that without Charlie, he might never have reached the White House. Even international figures weighed in, with European conservative groups pushing for moments of silence that were ultimately rejected. But amid the outpouring of grief, one voice rose above the rest: Candace Owens, Kirk's former colleague and self-proclaimed sister in the fight. Owens and Kirk went way back. She had joined Turning Point USA early on as director of urban engagement, and their bond was forged in the trenches of conservative activism. They shared road trips, backstage rituals, like blasting Kanye West's Power to hype up before events, and late-night strategy sessions. Owens has shared old videos of them rapping along to YE's tracks, laughing like siblings. Even after ideological rifts emerged, particularly over Owens' vocal criticism of Israel and its influence on American politics, they remained close. Kirk supported her through personal milestones, like her marriage to George Farmer, texting her that he seemed like the perfect match. "There is no Candace without Charlie," she said in a tearful tribute video shortly after his death, her voice breaking as she scrolled through a decade's worth of photos. Fans were stunned by the depth of their friendship, especially given Owens' recent departure from Turning Point amid donor pressures. But Owens wasn't content with tributes. Almost from the moment Kirk's body hit the ground, she launched into a full-throated attack on the official story. The FBI quickly identified 22-year-old Tyler Robinson as the shooter, a Utah native with a brief college stint and a history of online radicalization. Authorities said he confessed in text to his roommate, left a note boasting about taking out one of the nation's leading conservative voices, and even discussed ditching his grandfather's bolt-action rifle in the woods after the hit. Robinson turned himself in with his parents after a 33-hour manhunt, facing charges of aggravated murder and more, with prosecutors eyeing the death penalty. Evidence piled up: DNA on the weapon, surveillance footage of him at a gas station, and Discord messages where he allegedly planned the attack. It seemed like a straightforward case of a lone gunman driven by anti-conservative rage. Not according to Owens. She called the whole thing straight-up nonsense from day one, and her arguments have ignited a firestorm of online sleuthing. First, she zeroed in on Robinson's physical condition. Sources close to his family, including interrogation transcripts, revealed that Tyler suffers from partial paralysis in his right leg, the result of a severe car crash years earlier. This causes a pronounced limp, something his relatives immediately recognized when the FBI released grainy photos and a video clip of the suspect. They identified their son because of the video, because of the photographs they released, Owens quoted from the transcripts. But here's the kicker. The viral footage shows the shooter not limping away, but sprinting full tilt across the rooftop of the Lacy Center, covering nearly 100 meters in seconds. Digital forensics enthusiasts clocked it at around 16 miles per hour, far beyond what someone with Robinson's mobility could manage. Old body cam videos from his accident confirm the limp. He can barely jog. Those of us with eyeballs already knew this, Owens said, mocking the FBI's claim that the limp was from hiding an invisible rifle down his skinny jeans. Why no clear footage of him running? Why only one fleeting shot of a hobble? To her, it screamed fabrication. The doubts snowballed. Owens pointed out Robinson had never even visited Utah Valley University's campus, per his own records. And that roommate confession? Texts show Robinson admitting to the act hours after, but Owens questions the timing and coercion, especially since Robinson reportedly tried to take his own life upon surrender. Eyewitnesses, too, contradict the rooftop sniper narrative. Some swore they heard the shot from much closer, perhaps ground level, and described the second pop like a suppressed weapon, not the crack of a high-powered rifle. Missing footage from key angles only fuels the fire. Owens claims it's being withheld to protect the story. She's even suggested the miracle tale that Kirk's healthy neck bones stopped a .36 bullet is medically implausible, with autopsy hints of a smaller caliber fragment near his spine pointing to a frontal shot. I might have accidentally ruined their narrative by watching the backside footage, she boasted, predicting it'll tank in court. As Owens dug deeper, the plot thickened into something personal. She sits on Turning Point's board and was tight with Kirk, so her skepticism isn't just intellectual, it's visceral. No one deserves to be taken out on live TV for speaking their mind, she declared, vowing a private investigation. But whispers of internal betrayal soon surfaced. Leaked texts from a group chat just days before the shooting show Kirk venting frustration over pro-Israel pressures. Just lost another huge Jewish donor, he wrote, raging about funders pulling cash because of his ties to Tucker Carlson, whom some saw as too critical of Israel. Kirk even floated quitting the pro-Israel cause and bringing Owens back into the fold. A Turning Point staffer, later confirmed as Josh Hammer, tried to talk him down, warning of donor backlash. Hammer, a senior editor at Newsweek and vocal Zionist, became Owens' prime suspect. The texts were authentic, he admitted on air, but he spun them as Kirk blowing off steam. Yet the timing was eerie. Less than 24 hours before the shooting, Hammer quote-tweeted a 2013 Donald Trump post calling for public executions to end violence quickly. His reply? Just 2 words, public execution. Posted at 3:57 p.m. ET on September 9th. The day before Kirk's public execution at noon. Coincidence? Owens didn't think so. In what context does that tweet make sense? She demanded. Hammer's defense, that it was about a Ukrainian journalist's murder, fell flat for many, especially after he plugged his book on Israel during Kirk memorials. Online detectives uncovered more. Kirk had received death threats and wanted to cancel the Utah event, but someone inside Turning Point pushed him to go. Owens believes it was Hammer, the mole silencing a leader straying from the script. The feud escalated. Hammer released fuller chat logs, showing Kirk grateful post-Zoom for advice on pitching Israel to Gen Z. Charlie remained a true friend of the Jewish people to the very end, he insisted. Owens fired back. Kinda weird that Josh Hammer didn't know where Charlie's first campus stop was. She accused him of lying about Kirk's mindset, tying it to broader Zionist pressures. Fans split, some hailed Hammer's transparency, others saw damage control. But the real gut punch came when Owens announced she was skipping Kirk's memorial. The event, held in Glendale, Arizona, drew thousands, including Trump and conservative heavyweights. Owens claimed she wasn't invited, snubbed by Kirk's widow Erica and pro-Israel donors. There's a 0% chance, she said on her podcast, fuming about staff pushing her to attend for optics. Instead, she'd honor him her way. Headphones on, power blasting, visiting Kanye West. While I'm attacking the feds, maybe not going to a public event they're organizing is a good idea.